Everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Adorkable Rachel, and it's time for another episode of Rachel Reviews, so let's just hop into it. Bad Times at the El Royale was written and directed by Goddard, and he also co-wrote and directed The Cabin in the Woods, and if you're familiar with both of those movies, then you will definitely notice that there's some similarities. Both have a lot of suspense, both have unique twists on seemingly typical premises, and they also both play with your assumptions in really unforgettable ways. Bad Times at the El Royale follows 7 strangers who all come to the El Royale motel in the late 1960s, and the hotel has a gimmick of being in both California and Nevada. The strangers have distinct on-the-surface characteristics that we all identify, but it may turn out that none of them are as they appear. And something mysterious is also happening around the hotel that definitely affects all of them. And that's all I want to say, because this is a movie that constantly takes turns and plays with your expectations, and the more blind that you go into it, the better. You really need to go into this movie with hardly any knowledge of it. That is the best way for it to have a big impact. What really captured me about this movie is that we have this big group of people that all seem to represent different archetypes of the 1960s, both in subtle and really obvious ways. And as the movie goes on, we see them bear more and more about themselves, either by talking with someone or from the privacy of their hotel room. And true even today, this movie has a very smart way of showing us that archetypes back then are not always what we see them as. And we find out a lot about these characters because of this big secret that's within the hotel itself. Not gonna say what it is, but it's a little bit shocking, and it's really clever and also really eerie at the same time. And a very prominent theme that's heavily explored in this movie is that appearances can be deceiving. We may think that we know someone by looking at them or having a brief conversation with them, but it's not until you see them in their privacy and their environment and completely unaware that someone might be watching, that's when you really find out so much more about them. The cast was absolutely perfect for this movie. Chris Hemsworth especially blew me away in this movie. His character is very much based on Charles Manson and a bunch of other cult leaders from back in that era. And here's another actor who constantly surprises me with his acting abilities. He's both sexy and wackily intimidating in this movie. And I'm so happy to see Dakota Johnson here playing a really serious and complex role, because say what you want about the 50 Shades movies, but she gave her all in those films, and she's proven so many times that she is a serious actress, and she does a great job here. I'm just so relieved that the 50 Shades movies did not ruin her career. And everyone else does an incredible job in this movie. Jeff Bridges as Father Flynn, Cailee Spaeny as Rose, and a more unknown actor, Pullman as Miles the Concierge, who also has quite a few skeletons in his closet, just takes his character and arc to so many intense levels. And the real star of this movie is Cynthia Erivo, who is by far the most sympathetic character in this movie. There's a scene in the movie with a tracking shot where she's singing for the majority of it, and it is both empowering and also just so full of suspense at the same time. Another thing that I found captivating in this movie is the imagery. Not only is it shot beautifully, but the color schemes and the scenery are just so inviting. Being in this environment, in this motel in a secluded forest, and getting to know all these mysterious and interesting characters, it's just so engaging. The more we know, the more we want to explore it, and the more we want to spend time with these characters. And I think what also makes this movie work so well is that since we have all these set ideas about these characters, when they do something unexpected, which actually does happen a lot in the movie, we don't know what they're gonna do next. It was really clear watching this movie that the filmmakers took on a lot of Alfred Hitchcock's ideas about suspense. Quite a lot in this movie, the audience is given information that the characters don't know about, and you feel sympathy for them, you fear for them, and you might even be angry with them, but what carries the movie is that constant feeling of suspense. suspense. And there's so much going on in this movie, but you're still constantly engaged in it. Sometimes you might even see a scene play out and then you'll see it again from a second person's perspective, and you might even see it from a third perspective, but you're still on the edge of your seat. You want to see how everything's gonna play out. You want to know what's gonna happen to everybody. This is definitely the kind of movie that you're not going to have the same kind of viewing experience a second time around, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because once you get to go back and watch it again after seeing how it's all played out, you'll get a chance to notice all the clues and the hidden messages and the allegories and all the foreshadowing. For some people, this movie might feel a little long or like it's dragging out a lot in some scenes, but for me personally, I didn't have that experience. I felt like it was just the right length with a lot of tension and some really fantastic suspense. In some ways, it does feel a lot like a Quentin Tarantino movie, particularly a lot like The Hateful Eight, and if you told me this was a Quentin Tarantino movie, I would have no problem believing it. But Drew Goddard has proven to be a great master of suspense, and I'm not gonna be the least bit surprised if this movie gets nominated for some Oscars next year, particularly in the acting categories. Maybe even Best Picture. I don't know. The movie that we ended up with here is just so satisfying. It's gonna kind of depend on your experience and your taste how you'll feel about the ending of this movie, and I won't lie, there are some parts of the film that might make you feel a little bit disconnected and empty, but overall, I absolutely loved it. The setting and cinematography are gorgeous, the characters and their motivations are solid, Drew Goddard knocked it out of the park, and this is definitely one of the best films that I've seen all year. If you like suspense, mystery, really fascinating characters, and pleasing imagery, then Bad Times at the El Royale is a great time at the theater. Sure, I'm not the first one that said that, but So those are my thoughts on the Bad Times at the El Royale, and now I want to know, what did you guys think of the movie? Also let me know, what's your favorite suspense film, what's your favorite Drew Goddard film, and are there any other movies coming out soon that you want me to review? Well, go ahead and leave your comments below, be sure to like and share, and if you're new and like what you saw here, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to hit the little bell button down there to get notified when new stuff comes out, because I make new videos every week! Bye, Adorkable buddies! I'll see you soon!